My husband said his ex will always be part of his life, and that if I didn't like it, I should cancel the wedding. I met Derek at a charity gala where I was catering. He was charming, successful, and didn't play games. On our third date, he told me about Vanessa, his ex-wife of 8 years. They'd been divorced for 2 years when we met. No kids. The split was amicable, he said. They'd simply grown apart. Different life goals, different priorities. The divorce papers were signed over coffee. No lawyers necessary. They'd divided everything fairly and walked away as friends. What I loved about Derek was his honesty. He never hid that he still spoke to Vanessa occasionally. A text here and there. Sometimes coffee to catch up. He said it was important to him that they remained friends after sharing so much of their lives together. That cutting someone out completely, just because a romantic relationship ended, seemed immature and cruel. I thought it was mature. Healthy even. My ex had ghosted me after our breakup, blocking me on everything like I'd committed some unforgivable crime. Derek's approach felt evolved. Adult. The kind of things secure people did. 6 months into dating, I moved into his house. A beautiful 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs with a wraparound porch and mature oak trees. The kitchen had been recently renovated with marble countertops and professional-grade appliances. The master bedroom had a walk-in closet bigger than my old apartment's living room. That's when I noticed the photos. Not obvious ones on mantels or walls, but tucked in drawers when I was organizing, slipped behind other frames when I was dusting. Derek and Vanessa at the beach, her laughing as he lifted her in the waves. Derek and Vanessa at someone's wedding, dancing close. Derek and Vanessa on what looked like their honeymoon in Santorini, the white buildings glowing behind them, her hand on his chest. When I asked about them, he shrugged. Just haven't gotten around to removing them yet. Been meaning to go through all that stuff. You know how it is with old boxes in the attic. I let it go. Who was I to police his past? Everyone had history. Photos in drawers weren't the same as photos on display. Then came the phone calls. Always when I was in the shower or running errands, I'd come back to find his phone face down on the counter, her name still glowing on the screen. I'd see her in his call log, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Once, 47 minutes on a Tuesday afternoon when he'd said he was in back-to-back meetings. What do you two talk about for that long? I asked one night as casually as I could manage. Life, he said, not looking up from his laptop. She's going through some stuff at work. Her boss is being difficult. You know how corporate environments can be? Does she not have other friends to talk to? He finally looked at me, his expression hardening slightly. She's my friend too. We were together for 8 years. That doesn't just disappear because we're not married anymore. I felt like I'd been scolded for asking a reasonable question, like I was the problem for being uncomfortable with daily phone calls to an ex-wife. I apologized and didn't bring it up again. The wedding planning started 8 months later. Derek proposed at the same restaurant where we'd had our first date. He'd arranged for the staff to bring out a dessert with the ring nestled in the center, surrounded by fresh strawberries because he remembered they were my favorite. I cried. My mom cried when I called her from the restaurant bathroom. My best friend screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Everything felt perfect, until Vanessa called the morning after our engagement. I only heard Derek's side of the conversation, but his face transformed into something soft, tender, the way he used to look at me in the early days before we settled into routine. Yeah, I know. Thank you. That means a lot. You too. Always. The always hung in the air after he hung up. She's happy for us, he said, smiling. That's nice of her. I managed. She said we should all get dinner sometime. She'd love to get to know you better. The thought made my stomach turn, but I smiled and nodded. 2 weeks later, Derek suggested Vanessa help with the wedding planning. She has great taste, he explained over breakfast, and she knows a lot of vendors from when we planned ours. Could save us a ton of time and money, plus she'd be offended if we didn't at least ask for her input. My stomach twisted, but I nodded. I wanted to be the cool fiancé, the understanding one, not the insecure girlfriend who couldn't handle her partner having a cordial relationship with an ex. I'd seen those women in movies, read about them in advice columns, always painted as jealous and controlling. I refused to be that person. Vanessa showed up to our first planning meeting at a cafe downtown wearing Derek's favorite color, navy blue. The exact shade he'd once told me looked stunning on me. That brought out my eyes. Her hair was styled the way I used to wear mine before Derek mentioned offhandedly that he preferred it down, that updos made women look severe. She was beautiful, confident. She had this easy way of moving through space like she belonged everywhere she went. She touched Derek's arm when she laughed, called him D, a nickname I'd never heard in our 18 months together. Remember when we tried that awful fusion restaurant for our anniversary? She said with a giggle. Derek laughed, a full-bodied sound I hadn't heard in weeks. God, that place. The sushi burrito thing that was somehow both undercooked and overcooked. They spent 10 minutes reminiscing about restaurants and trips and inside jokes while I sat there, sipping my latte, feeling like a stranger at my own wedding planning session. She suggested the same venue where she and Derek had gotten married. It's really special, she said, looking directly at Derek, her hand still resting on his forearm, full of good memories. The gardens are just breathtaking in spring, and the ballroom has those gorgeous chandeliers, remember? Derek's eyes actually lit up. I loved that place. The ceremony space with the fountain? Exactly, Vanessa said, squeezing his arm. I felt sick, but smiled through it. That sounds beautiful. Should we at least look at a few other options? Derek waved his hand dismissively. If Vanessa says it's good, it's good. She has excellent taste. Let's just book it. Over the next 3 months, Vanessa embedded herself into everything. She joined us for cake tastings, insisting we try the lemon lavender because Derek had always loved citrus flavors, even though he'd told me multiple times he hated anything lemon. She helped pick flowers, steering me away from the peonies I wanted toward roses because roses photograph better, trust me, and you'll want these photos to last forever. She even had opinions on my dress. I'd found one I loved during a shopping trip with my mom and my best friend, a simple A-line with delicate lace sleeves and a sweetheart neckline. It made me feel like myself but elevated, beautiful without trying too hard. When I showed Vanessa the photo at our next planning meeting, her face fell into an expression of concern. "That style washes you out," she said sweetly, tilting her head. "Derek, don't you think the mermaid cut would be better? Show off her figure? She has such a great body, she should really emphasize it." Derek studied the photo I'd been excited about and nodded slowly. "Yeah, the mermaid would probably be more flattering, more elegant too." I returned the dress the next day and started looking at mermaid cuts I didn't even like. The florist appointment was worse. I'd picked out peonies in blush pink and white, soft, romantic. Exactly what I'd envisioned since I was a little girl playing wedding with my cousin. Vanessa shook her head gently. "Peonies wilt so quickly, and the pink washes out in photos. You want classic roses, red and white, timeless. We had roses at ours, and they looked stunning." She pulled out her phone and showed me photos from her wedding to Derek. She was right. The roses did look stunning, but they were her roses. At her wedding, Derek agreed with Vanessa. Again, the caterer was the same one from their wedding. The menu was nearly identical. Filet mignon and Chilean sea bass. The same appetizers. Even the same dessert display. When I suggested we try a different caterer, maybe get some options, Vanessa looked hurt. "This caterer is the best in the state. Are you saying my taste isn't good enough?" "No," I said quickly. "I just wanted to explore options." Derek sighed. "Let's just go with what works. Vanessa knows what she's doing." I wanted a small string quartet for the ceremony. Vanessa insisted we needed a full band. "Trust me," she said. "A quartet doesn't fill the space." We had a 10-piece band, and it was perfect. "Your guests will thank you." I wanted the reception inside. She said outside was more photogenic. I wanted a champagne toast. She said we needed to do whiskey because that's what Derek preferred. Every suggestion I made was gently, sweetly shot down, and replaced with something from her wedding to Derek. My mom pulled me aside after one particularly brutal planning session where Vanessa had vetoed 3 of my choices in a row and suggested we use the exact same invitation style she'd used. "Why is his ex-wife planning your wedding?" she asked, her voice tight with anger. "She's just being helpful," I said, not believing my own words anymore. "Honey, this isn't normal. She's taking over everything, and Derek is letting her. He's not even defending your choices. He's just trying to keep the peace. She knows him well. She knows what he likes." My mom grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at her. "This wedding should be about what you like, what you both like together as a couple, not what Derek and his ex-wife liked 6 years ago. Do you hear yourself? You're planning her wedding. You're just the one wearing the dress." I pulled away, defensive. "You're being dramatic. They're friends. That's all. He chose me. He's marrying me." But my mom's words echoed in my head during the drive home. When had I stopped making decisions? When had every choice become about what Derek preferred, filtered through Vanessa's expertise? When had I started feeling like a guest at my own wedding? The breaking point came 6 weeks before the wedding date. I came home early from work, not feeling well. A migraine was building behind my eyes, the kind that made light feel like knives. I'd texted Derek, but he hadn't responded, which wasn't unusual lately. He'd been busy with a big project at work, or so he said. I found Vanessa in our kitchen. Not unusual anymore. She had a key because she'd been dropping off wedding samples and vendor contracts when we weren't home. But something was different. She was wearing one of Derek's old college sweatshirts. The Georgetown one. The one he told me he'd lost years ago. The one I'd searched the entire house for because he said it was his favorite, had sentimental value, and he was heartbroken about losing it. "Oh," she said when she noticed me staring, freezing with a glass of water halfway to her mouth. "I left this here years ago. Found it in the back of Derek's closet today when I was grabbing that box of old wedding stuff he said I could go through for ideas." She said it so casually, like it was completely normal for her to be going through closets in the house I now lived in, like it was completely normal for her clothes to still be here, hidden in the back, years after their divorce. Derek walked in from the bedroom, freshly showered, hair still damp. He stopped when he saw me, his face flashing through several emotions too quickly to read. "You're home early." "Not feeling well," I said, my eyes moving between them. "My head is killing me. Why is Vanessa in your old sweatshirt?" He glanced at Vanessa, and something unreadable passed between them. A look I couldn't decipher, but that made my stomach drop. "It's hers, from when she went to Georgetown for that semester abroad program. I guess it got mixed up with my stuff during the divorce. But you told me that sweatshirt was from your freshman year, that your dad bought it for you on move-in day, that it was one of your most treasured possessions." Derek's jaw tightened, a muscle twitching. I misremembered. "Does it really matter whose sweatshirt it is?" Vanessa stood up, pulling the sweatshirt tighter around herself like she was cold, even though it was 70 degrees outside. "I should go. Didn't mean to cause any issues. I'll just grab my stuff." She walked past me, and I caught a whiff of Derek's cologne, the same one I'd bought him for his birthday 2 months ago, the expensive one he said he was saving for special occasions. After the door closed, Derek sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "You're being paranoid." "Am I?" She's here all the time. She has a key. She's going through your closet. She's wearing your clothes. She's making all our wedding decisions. Our wedding decisions, he corrected sharply. And she's helping. I thought you'd be grateful. Most women would kill to have someone doing all this work for them. Grateful? Derek, she suggested we get married at the same venue where you two got married. She picked out flowers that were in her wedding. She's using the same caterer with the same menu. She chose the same band. She's recreating your first wedding with me as the stand-in bride. That's ridiculous and insulting. You're making connections that aren't there. Am I? Name one thing about this wedding that's actually mine. One choice I made that she didn't influence or change or veto. He couldn't. The silence stretched between us, heavy and damning. You're being unfair, he finally said. Vanessa has been nothing but kind to you. She's trying to help make our day special. I think we need to set some boundaries, I said, my voice shaking. Vanessa needs to step back from the wedding planning. Way back. Like, completely out. Derek's face hardened into something I didn't recognize. She's my best friend. She's been in my life longer than you have. She knows me better than anyone. If you can't handle that, maybe you're not ready for this marriage. What? Vanessa will always be part of my life. We have history. We have a connection that you'll never understand. I won't apologize for that. I won't cut her out just because you're insecure. I'm not asking you to apologize or cut her out. I'm asking you to prioritize your future wife over your ex-wife. I'm asking you to let me make decisions about my own wedding without her approval. He crossed his arms across his chest. I shouldn't have to choose. A mature woman would understand that. If you loved me, you'd accept all of me, including my relationship with Vanessa. If you loved me, you wouldn't make me compete with her for space in my own relationship, in my own wedding, in my own home. His phone buzzed on the counter. We both looked. Vanessa's name lit up the screen with a text preview. Are you okay? She seemed upset. I need to take this, Derek said, reaching for his phone. Are you serious right now? She's probably worried. It'll just take a second. He walked out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there, my migraine now a full-blown assault on my skull. I heard his voice from the other room, low and soothing. No, it's fine. She's just being emotional. You know how it is. Yeah, I know. I'll handle it. Something inside me crystallized in that moment. A clarity that cut through the pain in my head. This wasn't normal. This wasn't what healthy friendships with exes looked like. This was something else entirely. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Derek's face when he talked to Vanessa. The softness, the familiarity, the intimacy, the way he never looked at me anymore, the way he maybe never had looked at me. At 2 a.m., while Derek slept soundly beside me, I did something I'd never done before. Something I'd always thought was a violation of trust. But then again, what trust was left? I went through Derek's phone. I knew his passcode. He'd given it to me months ago, back when things were good, telling me he had nothing to hide. The texts with Vanessa went back months. Daily conversations, sometimes hourly. I miss you. Thinking about that weekend in Vermont. Best trip ever. She doesn't get me like you do. You always understood me. I made a mistake. I should have fought harder for us. Should never have signed those papers. I'm only going through with this wedding because I can't hurt her now. But you know where my heart is. You've always known. My hands shook as I scrolled further back. Pictures. Derek and Vanessa from 2 months ago. At a restaurant I didn't recognize. His arm around her head on his shoulder. Both of them laughing. Dates from after we'd gotten engaged. Multiple dinners, coffee dates, long drives. One picture was taken at sunrise with the caption, "Best morning waking up next to you." I felt like I was going to be sick. I found emails next, buried in a folder labeled work. Derek had been helping Vanessa with her rent. $2,000 transferred every month through a payment app, going back 8 months. The same amount that I'd been contributing to our joint account for wedding expenses. Money I'd been saving from my salary, cutting back on everything to help pay for our future. My wedding was being funded by money that should have been going to his ex-wife. Or maybe it was all the same thing to him. I found plane tickets. Derek had told me he had a work conference in Seattle 3 months ago. A big presentation for a potential client. He'd been gone for 4 days. The ticket was actually to Denver, where Vanessa had moved for a new job. The hotel reservation was for a king bed, for 2 people, 4 nights. I sat on the bathroom floor, phone clutched in my hand, trying not to vomit. The cold tile pressed against my legs. The fluorescent light made everything too bright, too sharp, too real. Everything made sense now. The phone calls, her comfort in our home, her key, her clothes still here, the way Derek's face changed when she was around, the way he defended her over me every single time. They'd never stopped being together. The divorce had been a lie. Or maybe they'd gotten divorced for practical reasons, financial reasons, and immediately regretted it. Either way, I was the placeholder. The acceptable public girlfriend while he kept his real relationship hidden. The new model he was test driving while keeping the original in the garage, maintained and ready. I thought about confronting him right then, waking him up, screaming, throwing things, watching him scramble for excuses. Instead, I started planning. I took screenshots of everything. Every text, every email, every photo, every bank transaction, the plane tickets, the hotel reservation. I uploaded them all to a cloud drive he didn't have access to, emailed them to myself, texted them to my best friend with a message. If something happens to me, you have the evidence. The next morning, I acted completely normal. made Derek his coffee exactly how he liked it, kissed him goodbye when he left for work, smiled. Then I called my mom. "You were right," I said when she answered. "About everything. I need help." She was at my door in 20 minutes. I showed her everything, watched her face cycle through shock, rage, disgust, and then cold determination. "We're getting you out of this," she said. "Today. Right now." But I had a better idea. A worse idea. Or maybe the best idea I'd ever had. 6 weeks until the wedding meant 6 weeks to dismantle everything carefully, methodically, the way he'd dismantled me. I started with the vendors, called every single one personally over the next week. The venue, the caterer, the florist, the photographer, the DJ, the band, the cake baker, the hotel blocks, the transportation company. I told them all the same thing. The wedding was canceled due to irreconcilable differences. I made sure to get everything in writing, refunds where possible. Some places let me transfer the deposits to credit for future events. Others kept deposits but waived cancellation fees when I explained the situation vaguely enough to sound sympathetic. I was remarkably calm making these calls. Each one felt like cutting a string that had been strangling me. I hired a private investigator. Not because I needed more proof, but because I wanted documentation a lawyer could use. Professional photographs with timestamps and locations. A pattern of behavior spelled out in black and white. He was expensive but worth it. He delivered his report after 2 weeks. Derek and Vanessa meeting for dinner 3 times a week at restaurants across the city, entering her apartment building together at night, leaving the next morning in yesterday's clothes. Hotel stays in 3 different cities over the past 4 months, always when Derek claimed to be working. The investigator had even talked to Vanessa's neighbors. They thought Derek was her boyfriend, said they'd seen him there for months. One neighbor mentioned hearing them argue once about when he was finally going to leave his girlfriend. I paid the investigator in full and kept the report in a locked drawer. I contacted a lawyer, a woman who specialized in contract disputes and fraud. I explained the situation, showed her the evidence. She smiled grimly. "You're not married yet. That makes this much easier. But we should document everything in case he tries to sue for the ring or shared expenses. Build a timeline. Show the deception." We spent 2 hours going through everything. She took copies of all my evidence. "You have a solid case if he tries anything," she said. "But honestly, my advice is to walk away clean. Take your losses. Don't give him any opportunity to drag you through court and further torture." I went to the bank and withdrew every penny from our joint account. It was technically mine anyway, since I'd been the only one actually contributing while Derek funneled money to Vanessa. The account had my name first. I'd opened it and added him later. $12,000. Every cent I'd saved for our wedding and our future together. I opened a new account at a different bank. I contacted the landlord of our rental house. Explained that I'd be moving out and wanted to know the process for breaking the lease early. Turned out the lease was only in my name. Derek had insisted on that 2 years ago because his credit was tied up in investments, he'd said. Because it would be better for future mortgage applications. That meant I could leave whenever I wanted, and he'd have to leave too. The landlord was sympathetic. Waived the early termination fee when I explained I was leaving a difficult relationship. Said I could be out by the end of the month and he'd keep my security deposit to cover the gap. I found a new apartment across town. Small but mine. 1 bedroom with big windows and a kitchen that got morning light. Signed the lease and paid first and last month's rent plus deposit. It wiped out a chunk of my savings, but it was worth it. I started moving my things slowly. A box here, a suitcase there. Nothing Derek would notice. Clothes from the back of the closet. Books from the bottom shelf. Kitchen items I'd brought to the relationship. I told my family and close friends what was happening. Showed them the evidence. Watched their faces shift from shock to rage to determination. My brother offered to be there when I finally confronted Derek. My best friend helped me pack during the day while Derek was at work. My dad changed the locks on my car because it was registered in my name, but Derek had a spare key. We changed all my passwords. Bank accounts, email, social media, everything. My best friend's husband was a cop. He came over and documented everything. Took photos of the house for my records, just in case Derek tried to claim I'd stolen or damaged anything. I planned the confrontation for exactly 2 weeks before the wedding date. I wanted him to feel the panic, the scrambling, the embarrassment of having to tell people it was canceled. I wanted him to feel a fraction of what he'd put me through. That evening, I cooked Derek's favorite meal. Herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables and garlic mashed potatoes. Set the table with candles and the nice dishes. Put on the navy blue dress he'd bought me for our anniversary, the one that matched Vanessa's favorite color. He walked in, surprised by the romantic setup. "What's the occasion?" "Just wanted to do something nice for my fiancé. We've been so stressed with wedding planning. I thought we could have a nice evening." He smiled, the smile that had made me fall in love with him 2 years ago. "This is great. Thank you." We ate dinner. I asked about his day. He told me about a difficult client, a problem with the supplier, normal work stress. I nodded sympathetically, playing the supportive partner perfectly. After dessert, I poured us both wine from the expensive bottle he'd been saving. "I want to talk about the wedding," I said. He groaned. "Please don't tell me Vanessa changed something else." "I'll talk to her, I promise." "No," I said calmly. "I want to talk about why you're still in love with her." His face went pale. The wine glass stopped halfway to his mouth. "What?" I placed my phone on the table and hit play. The recording started. Derek and Vanessa on the phone 3 weeks ago. His voice low and intimate, thinking I was at the gym. "I can't stop thinking about last night. About you. About us." I wish I could just fast forward through the next 2 months and we could stop pretending. The color drained from his face. That's not what it sounds like. You're taking it out of context. I swiped to the next recording. And the next. And the next. Weeks of conversations I'd been recording once I'd gotten suspicious. Then I showed him the photos. The bank statements showing money transfers to Vanessa. The hotel reservations in both their names. The plane tickets to Denver when he'd claimed he was in Seattle. The private investigator's report sat in a folder beside my plate. Professional. Thorough. Damning. Derek reached for the folder, but I pulled it away. I canceled the wedding, I said. 2 weeks ago. Called every vendor. Got refunds where possible. Transferred deposits where I couldn't. The venue has already been rebooked for another couple's big day. His mouth opened and closed. No words came out. You can't do that. It's our wedding. Our money. No, I said, standing up. It was your second wedding to Vanessa, with me playing dress up in white. And it was my money. Every single deposit came from my account. From my savings. While you were sending $2,000 a month to your ex-wife. Ex-wife you're still sleeping with. He stood too. Panic replacing shock. Let me explain. Please. It's complicated. Vanessa and I have history. We have a bond. But I do love you. I want to marry you. I chose you. You're still sleeping with her. You've been sleeping with her our entire relationship. You went to Denver for 4 days while telling me you were at a work conference. You pay her rent. You talk to her every single day. You let her plan our wedding to look exactly like yours because you never stopped thinking of her as your wife. It's not like that. It's just, we have a connection. It doesn't take away from what we have. I can love both of you. I laughed. A bitter sound that surprised even me. I don't want to be loved the same amount you love her. I don't want to share you. I don't want to compete for my own fiancé's attention. And I definitely don't want a husband who's been lying to me for 2 years. Derek's face transformed into something ugly. Where will I go? This is my home too. I pulled out the lease, showed him the signature line. Only my name. You insisted on this, remember? For your credit score? So you could qualify for better investment loans? Turns out it's only in my name. The landlord says you have 30 days to find a new place. I'll be gone by the end of the week. His hands clenched into fists. You can't kick me out of my own house. I'll fight this. I'll get a lawyer. Go ahead. My lawyer has copies of everything. The affair. The financial deception. The fraud. If you want to take this to court, I'd be happy to let a judge decide. Fine. Keep the house. But you're not keeping the ring. I pulled the engagement ring off my finger. The 1-carat princess cut he'd proposed with. I placed it on the table between us. I don't want anything from you. Not the ring. Not the life we planned. Nothing. What about the deposits? The money you spent? I have receipts for every penny I contributed. My lawyer has them all. If you want to sue me for your share, go ahead. But you'll have to explain in court why you were wiring thousands to your ex-wife every month while I paid for our wedding, while I paid for groceries, while I paid for utilities. What did you spend your money on, Derek? Besides hotels with Vanessa? He stared at me, and I saw the exact moment he realized he'd lost, that there was no way to spin this. No explanation that would make sense. No lie that would work. Vanessa, he said suddenly, desperately. This is because of her, isn't it? She made you insecure. She made you paranoid. I cut him off. Don't. Don't you dare blame this on me or my feelings about her. This is because you've been lying to me every single day for 2 years. Because you've been sleeping with her while planning a wedding with me. Because you used my money to fund your affair. He ran his hands through his hair, the gesture he always did when he was stressed. Please, can we just talk about this? Work through it? I'll end things with Vanessa. I'll cut contact. I'll do whatever you want. You've already done everything I never wanted, and it's too late. I picked up my purse and walked toward the door. My brother was waiting in his truck outside, ready to drive me to my new apartment. We'd planned this exit carefully. I wasn't giving Derek any opportunity to talk me out of it or manipulate me further. Derek followed me outside into the driveway. You'll regret this. No one else will put up with you. You're too uptight, too jealous, too controlling. Vanessa said from the beginning you had issues, that you were possessive and insecure. I turned back one last time. Vanessa can have you. Apparently she already does. And she's welcome to every lying, cheating, manipulative piece of you. I climbed into my brother's truck. He put it in reverse as Derek stood there in the driveway, watching me leave the life I'd almost settled for. In the rearview mirror, I saw him pull out his phone, calling Vanessa, no doubt, running to her like he always did. My brother glanced over at me. You okay? I will be. The next 2 weeks were chaos. Derek's family called, angry and confused. His mother left voicemails that started apologetic and ended accusatory. Why was I doing this? Why was I destroying their family? Why was I being so cruel? His father called from a blocked number because I'd stopped answering numbers I recognized. He demanded I pay back the rehearsal dinner deposit they'd put down, $3,000 at a restaurant they'd already booked. I sent them all the same response through my lawyer. Contact my attorney for any further communication regarding this matter. I sent his mother the private investigator's report. She deserved to know who her son really was. Friends who'd been mutual slowly took sides. Most took his. Called me overdramatic. Said I was throwing away a good man over cold feet. Over a friendship I'd blown out of proportion. Derek was telling people I'd had a breakdown. That I'd become obsessed with Vanessa. Jealous of their friendship. That I'd fabricated evidence of an affair because I couldn't handle him having a close female friend. He was good at lying. I'd give him that. I let those friends go. Anyone who couldn't see what Derek had done who could listen to his version and not question it, wasn't someone I needed in my life. My family rallied around me completely. My mom came over every night for the first week, bringing food I couldn't eat and terrible reality TV that somehow helped. My dad changed every lock in my new apartment and installed a security system because Derek had been driving by at odd hours. Derek's texts started coming after a few days. "I'm sorry. Please call me back. We can work through this. Every relationship has rough patches. You're making a huge mistake. We're supposed to get married in a week. You owe me an explanation. You owe me a conversation. Answer your fucking phone. This is ridiculous. I blocked his number after the last one. Vanessa tried calling too. Left a voicemail that made my skin crawl. I don't know what Derek told you, but you're wrong about us. He loves you. He really does. You're ruining everything because you're insecure. You need therapy. You need help. I tried to be your friend. I tried to help with the wedding. And this is how you repay me? By accusing Derek of horrible things? You should be ashamed." I saved the voicemail, sent it to my lawyer, added it to the file. My lawyer called the next day. "If he contacts you again, we can get a restraining order. If she contacts you again, same thing. You don't have to deal with this harassment. I'll wait and see." I think they'll stop once reality sets in. 3 days before what would have been the wedding, Derek's mother called from a number I didn't have blocked. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "I need to talk to you," she said. Her voice sounded hollow. "I sent you the report. You know everything. I read it. I showed it to Derek's father. We confronted Derek. And he admitted everything. Eventually. After we showed him the evidence. He said he never stopped loving Vanessa, that the divorce was a mistake, that he thought he could move on with you, but his heart was still with her. I felt nothing. No vindication, no satisfaction, just emptiness. He said marrying you seemed like the right thing to do, the grown-up thing, that you were stable and kind and would make a good wife, but that he couldn't stop thinking about Vanessa, that they'd reconnected a few months after you started dating and things just happened. Things just happened," I repeated flatly. His mother's voice cracked. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He told us you were jealous, that you had trust issues. We believed him because we wanted to believe our son wasn't capable of this. I defended him to my friends. I told them you were the problem. It's done now. He's devastated," she said. "He's barely left his apartment. He realizes what he's lost. I doubt that. He's probably with Vanessa right now." Silence. "He is, isn't he?" I asked. "Yes," she whispered. "He moved in with her yesterday." I almost laughed. "His father wants to reimburse you for the rehearsal dinner, for everything, for the deposits you lost. We're so sorry. I don't want your money. I just want to be left alone. Please, let us do something. We feel horrible. Tell Derek and Vanessa to stay away from me. That's all I want." I hung up. The weekend the wedding was supposed to happen. I did something I probably shouldn't have. I drove to the venue, not to go inside, but I parked across the street where I could see the entrance. I watched Derek pull up at what would have been ceremony time. He sat in his car for 20 minutes. Vanessa arrived separately and knocked on his window. They argued in the parking lot. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but their body language told the story. She was crying. He was pacing. She grabbed his arm. He pulled away. She yelled something. He yelled back. They'd lost their dream recreation wedding, the one where he could pretend the divorce had never happened, where he could have his perfect day again with me as the convenient bride. I watched for 10 more minutes, then drove away. I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even relief, just nothing. A month passed, then 2. I threw myself into work. Got promoted because I'd been putting in extra hours, needing somewhere to focus all my energy. Started therapy twice a week to process the betrayal and the gaslighting. My therapist helped me see the patterns I'd missed. How many red flags I'd ignored because I wanted to be the cool girlfriend. How many times I'd swallowed my discomfort to accommodate his manipulation. "You practiced appeasement," she said during one session. "You kept making yourself smaller and smaller, hoping that would make him love you more. But people like Derek don't want small partners. They want invisible ones." She taught me about triangulation, how Derek had positioned me and Vanessa in constant competition, while making both of us think the other was the problem. How he'd used my desire to be mature and understanding against me. "It's a form of emotional abuse," she explained, "making you doubt your own reasonable reactions, making you feel crazy for being uncomfortable with things that should make anyone uncomfortable." I started journaling, processing, understanding. 3 months after the canceled wedding, my best friend sent me a screenshot. "You need to see this. I'm sorry." Derek had posted on social media a photo of him and Vanessa at a restaurant holding hands across the table, both of them smiling. The caption, "Sometimes the right person was there all along. Second chances do exist. Blessed, true love, never too late." The comments were full of people celebrating their love, calling them soulmates, saying they'd always known Derek and Vanessa belonged together, that real love always finds a way back. No one mentioned me. It was like our 2 years together had been erased. My best friend added, "Do you want me to expose him? I'll post the whole story, the evidence, everything." I stared at the screenshot, at their smiling faces, at the lies they were selling to the world. "No," I typed back. "Let them have each other." Because here's what I'd learned. Derek didn't win. He didn't get the devoted wife and the exciting ex-girlfriend. He got exactly what he deserved. Someone just as dishonest as he was. Vanessa knew he'd been engaged to me. She'd helped plan our wedding while sleeping with him. She'd sat in my home, worn his clothes, played the helpful friend while betraying me every single day. She knew what he was capable of. And eventually, she'd be the one wondering who he was texting, who he was calling, whether he was really at work or somewhere else. They deserved each other's company in whatever toxic relationship they'd built. I was free. 4 months later, I went on my first date. A guy named Adrian from a cooking class I'd joined at my therapist's suggestion. He was kind, funny, had warm eyes and an easy laugh. When he talked about his ex, he did so briefly and without lingering emotion. They broke up 2 years ago. Stayed in touch for a few months after, but then naturally drifted apart. He hadn't spoken to her in over a year. That's healthy, I said. On our third date, he asked if I was in touch with any exes. No, I said. Clean break. He smiled. Good. I think staying friends with exes can work for some people, but I prefer to focus on the future. The past is the past for a reason. I thought about Derek, about Vanessa, about the wedding that never happened and the life I'd almost sacrificed. Yeah, I agreed. It really is. 6 months after the canceled wedding, I ran into Derek's mother at a coffee shop downtown. She looked older, tired. Her hair had more gray than I remembered. How are you? She asked carefully, like I might break or lash out. I'm good, really good. She nodded, her eyes filling with tears. Derek and Vanessa got married last month. Small ceremony at a courthouse. Very quick. Just immediate family. I felt nothing. Not even a flicker of the devastation I'd expected to feel at this news. I hope they're happy, I said. And I meant it. Not because I wanted good things for them, but because their happiness or misery no longer affected me at all. His mother touched my arm gently. You were always too good for him. I see that now. I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. I'm sorry we didn't protect you from him. Thank you for saying that. She hesitated, then added quietly. They're not happy. They fight constantly. She's already accused him of cheating. With a coworker this time. He denies it. But I don't know if I believe him anymore. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you, though? I considered the question honestly. I'm sorry that people are hurting, but I'm not sorry it's not me anymore. She nodded, understanding. You look good. Lighter somehow. I feel lighter. She squeezed my hand once, then left, and I sat with my coffee, watching people pass by outside the window. My phone buzzed. A text from Adrian. Still on for dinner tonight? Can't wait to see you. I smiled and typed back. Can't wait either. See you at 7. A year after the canceled wedding, I was completely moved on. Adrian and I had been dating for 8 months. He'd met my family. I'd met his. We'd taken a trip to the coast and spent a weekend eating seafood and walking on the beach, and not once did he mention an ex or take a mysterious phone call. We talked about normal relationship things, our jobs, our friends, our goals, what we wanted for the future. One night over dinner at my apartment, he asked about my past relationships. I told him about Derek. Not all the details, but enough. The lies, the affair, the manipulation, the wedding that almost happened. He listened without interrupting, his hand covering mine on the table. I'm sorry you went through that, he said when I finished. That's awful. No one deserves that. I survived it. More than survived. You walked away. That takes serious strength. I didn't feel strong at the time. I felt destroyed. But you rebuilt. That's strength. I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago. Desperate to be understanding. Desperate to be chosen. Willing to erase myself to keep peace with a man who didn't deserve my peace. I thought about the woman I was now. Secure. Boundaried. Unwilling to accept less than I deserved. Yeah, I said. I guess it is. Adrian squeezed my hand. For what it's worth, I'm grateful he was an idiot. Because otherwise you wouldn't be here with me. I smiled. I'm grateful too. 14 months after the canceled wedding, I got a message request on social media from Vanessa. I stared at the notification for a full minute before clicking it. I need to talk to you, please. It's important. I showed Adrian. What do you think she wants? He asked. I don't know, but I'm not interested in finding out. Good. You don't owe her anything. I declined the message request and blocked her. 2 weeks later, Derek's mother called. I'd kept her number unblocked because she'd been genuinely apologetic and kind. Did Vanessa try to contact you? She asked. Yes. I didn't respond. Derek's mother sighed heavily. She's pregnant, about 3 months along. She's convinced Derek is having an affair with someone from his office. She wanted to ask you if he'd done the same thing to you, if there had been signs she should look for. I felt a wave of something. Not quite sympathy, not quite vindication, something in between. What did you tell her? That she should ask Derek, that she should trust her instincts, that if she thinks he's cheating, he probably is. Is he? His mother paused. I don't know. Probably. He's working late a lot, taking unexpected trips, coming home smelling like perfume that isn't hers, history repeating itself. Yes, I'm sorry for her, for the baby, but I'm not the person who can help her. I know. I just wanted to warn you in case she tried again. Thank you. After we hung up, Adrian looked at me. You okay? I'm okay. It's just sad. She helped him destroy my life. She knew what he was doing, and now she's living exactly what she helped put me through. Karma's real, he said. Maybe. Or maybe people like Derek just are who they are, and eventually everyone figures it out. 18 months after the canceled wedding, I was sitting at a cafe working on my laptop when someone approached my table. I looked up to find Vanessa standing there, pregnant. Just like Derek's mother had said, maybe 6 months along now. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun. "Please don't run," she said. "I just need 5 minutes." I should have left, should have gathered my things and walked out, but something made me stay. 5 minutes, I said. She sat down heavily, her hand on her belly. "You were right about him," she said without preamble. "About everything. Okay, he's cheating on me. Has been for months. Maybe longer. With his assistant. A 24-year-old named Brittany who doesn't know he's married. He told her we're separated. I'm sorry you're going through that." She laughed bitterly. "Are you, though? I helped him ruin your life. I knew what he was doing to you, and I didn't care because I wanted him back. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know I understand now. What I did. What we did. It was cruel. I convinced myself you were just a placeholder. That you didn't really love him. That you wouldn't be that hurt because your relationship was never real anyway. But it was real. To me. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I studied her face. She meant it. The apology was genuine, but it didn't change anything. "I accept your apology," I said. "But I don't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. What you did was calculated and cruel. I know. You helped plan my wedding while sleeping with my fiancé. You came into my home. You wore his clothes. You pretended to be my friend while stabbing me in the back every single day. I know," she whispered. "Did you know he was sending you my money? The money I was saving for our wedding?" Her face crumpled. "Yes, I knew. And you took it anyway. I thought I loved him. I thought we were meant to be together. I thought you were just an obstacle, a temporary problem. I was a person, with feelings, with a life, with dreams. You're right. You deserved better. So much better. I did. And now you deserve better. But that's not my problem anymore." She wiped her eyes. "What should I do? About the baby? About him? Leave him. Document everything? Get a lawyer? Protect yourself and your child. That's what you did." "Yes. And it was the best decision I ever made." She nodded slowly. "He told me you were crazy. That you made everything up because you were jealous. I believed him because I wanted to. They always do." Vanessa stood up carefully. "Thank you for talking to me, and I'm sorry. For all of it." She walked away, and I watched her leave. I felt something close to pity. She was about to go through what I'd gone through, but with a baby on the way, with pregnancy hormones and medical appointments and the vulnerability of new motherhood. Derek would cheat on her through all of it, just like he'd cheated on me, just like he'd probably cheat on Brittany once the novelty wore off. Some men were just built that way. Adrian called as I was packing up. "Hey, beautiful. Still good for dinner tonight? Actually, can you come to my place instead? I need to tell you about something that just happened. Everything okay?" "Yeah, everything's fine. I just need a hug. I'll be there in 20 minutes. 2 years after the canceled wedding, I was genuinely happy. Adrian and I had moved in together. A small house with a garden and a front porch where we drank coffee on weekend mornings. We'd talked about marriage, eventually, when it felt right. No rush. I'd learned what healthy love looked like. Secure, transparent, easy, no games, no triangulation, no competing for attention. When Adrian's ex sent him a text asking how he was doing, he showed me immediately. "Should I respond?" he asked. "If you want to. I trust you." He typed back a brief, polite message. "Hope you're well. Take care." That was it. No long phone calls, no coffee dates, no emotional intimacy that crossed lines. Just a former relationship that had ended and stayed ended. I got a wedding invitation in the mail. From Derek's cousin, someone I'd met a few times during our relationship. We'd gotten along well. She'd sent me a message after the wedding cancellation, saying she was sorry about what happened, and that she'd always liked me. The invitation surprised me. Adrian looked at it over my shoulder. "Are you going to go?" I thought about it. I don't know. Part of me wants to show up looking amazing and unbothered. Part of me wants to never think about that family again. What does your gut say? That I have nothing to prove? That I don't need their validation or their curiosity? Then don't go. I sent a polite decline with a generous gift from the registry. Derek's cousin texted, "Thank you for the gift. I completely understand. For what it's worth, Derek won't be there. I didn't invite him after what he did to you. Mom told me everything. I appreciated that more than I could express." 3 years after the canceled wedding, I was at a park with Adrian when I saw them. Derek and Vanessa. They had a toddler between them, a little girl with dark curls. They were arguing quietly while the child played on a nearby bench. Vanessa's face was tight with anger. Derek's arms were crossed defensively. They didn't see me. I watched for a minute. The child looked between her parents, confused and sad. The kind of sad that kids wear when they're used to their parents fighting. Adrian followed my gaze. "Is that him?" "Yeah. Want to leave?" "No. We were here first. We stayed. Had our picnic. Laughed. Held hands. Lived our life. Eventually they left, still arguing. The little girl held Vanessa's hand and looked back at Derek, who was trailing behind them on his phone. I felt sad for that child, for the life she'd been born into, but I felt nothing for them. 4 years after the canceled wedding, Adrian proposed, at the same park where I'd seen Derek and Vanessa. On purpose. "I want this place to be about us," he said. "About our future, not about your past." I said yes immediately. We planned a small wedding, just family and close friends. At a venue I chose, with flowers I picked, with food we both loved. No one tried to take over. No one made decisions for us. It was ours. The night before the wedding, My mom came to my hotel room. Are you nervous? She asked. No, not at all. This feels right. He feels right. She hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you. For walking away from Derek, for choosing yourself, for finding someone who deserves you. I didn't find him. We found each other. Even better. The wedding was perfect, simple, joyful. Adrian cried when he saw me walking down the aisle. I cried during his vows when he promised to always choose me first. We danced, we laughed, we celebrated with people who loved us. Not once did I think about Derek or Vanessa or the wedding that never happened. 5 years after I'd canceled that other wedding, I was sitting on my porch with Adrian, drinking coffee and watching the sunrise. His hand rested on my very pregnant belly. We were expecting a son in 2 months. What are you thinking about? He asked. How different my life would be if I'd married him. Do you regret how things happened? Not for a second. That pain led me here. To you. To this. He kissed my temple. I'm glad you canceled that wedding. Me too. Best decision I ever made. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity won. It was from Derek. I know I have no right to contact you, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I hope you're happy. I hope you found someone who treats you the way you should be treated. I showed Adrian. Are you going to respond? He asked. No. He doesn't get my closure. He doesn't get to know about my life. He doesn't get anything from me. I blocked the number and deleted the message. Adrian squeezed my hand. Good. We sat there in the morning quiet, watching the world wake up around us. I'd spent 2 years planning a wedding to the wrong person. I'd lost time, money, dignity, and a version of myself I didn't particularly miss. But I'd gained everything that mattered. I'd gained the knowledge that I could walk away, that I could trust my instincts, that I could choose myself, even when everyone else said I was being unreasonable. Derek had said Vanessa would always be part of his life. He'd told me to cancel the wedding if I couldn't accept it. So I did. And I'd never made a better decision. Because now I was married to a man who chose me every single day, who never made me compete for his attention, who never made me doubt my place in his life. I was expecting a child with someone I trusted completely. I had a life I'd built on my own terms. Derek had given me an ultimatum, thinking I'd back down, thinking I'd accept being second place, thinking I'd be so desperate to get married that I'd tolerate anything. He'd been wrong. And in the end, I'd won everything that mattered by walking away from everything he'd offered.